Rafael El Toro Valdez had not worn boxing shoes for 6 years. They rested like two mute trophies in the closet of his third-floor apartment overlooking Calle San Lazaro. Their laces knotted together, their leather curled inward like hands remembering a punch. Each dawn, he told himself he would toss them out. Each night, he returned from tending bar at the Hotel Sevilla, opened the closet for one last look, and shut the door before the shoes could speak. This cycle might have lasted the rest of his quiet life, if not for a cigar that shimmered green in the moonlight. The rumor of those cigars drifted around Havana the way music seeped from open windows. Impossible to bottle, impossible to ignore. They were rolled in a clandestine workshop near the old harbour, their leaves laced with scales shed by mermaids who surfaced at midnight to sing to rust-bitten trawlers. Whoever smoked one was granted a vision of a sorrow, a treasure, or a fate awaiting in the shadows of the city. Rafael had sworn off cigars the day he left the ring. The sweet smell of tobacco was married to the roar of crowds, the glare of lights, and the moment he clipped the jaw of Ignacio Hurricane Reyes so hard the man's left retina detached. Ignacio forgave him, but Rafael never forgave himself. He still paid half of Ignacio's medical bills, slipping pesos into an envelope every month. Even so, when a skinny bellhop named Milo approached him behind the hotel bar and pressed the iridescent cigar into his palm, Rafael felt the heat of destiny. "From my cousin at the docks," Milo whispered. "Smoke it alone. Listen to what it shows." Rafael almost refused, but the leaf glimmered with a fish-scale sheen that enthralled him like the Baroque scrollwork on a championship belt. He tucked it behind his ear, finished his shift, and walked home through streets smelling of sea salt and diesel. Upstairs, he poured himself a shot of 7-year rum, opened the balcony doors to the hush of the Malakian, and struck a match. The mermaid cigar tasted of brine and honey. His lungs filled with a coolness that seemed to come from the ocean floor. On the third drawer, the room blurred, and the night folded outward like the pages of a pop-up book. He was standing in a sugarcane field beneath a violet sky. The stalks bowed in unison as if a wind passed through, yet the air was still. Then he heard the rustle, dry leaves clawing. Figures rose among the cane men and women in tattered overalls, mouths packed with black molasses, eyes filmed with crystallized sugar. As they lurched forward, chunks of raw cane jutted from their flesh like splintered bone. One dragged a torn flag, the old banner of a failed revolution. Another clutched a machete dulled to a butter knife by rust, yet she swung it as though reaping souls. Beyond them stood a man in a white linen suit, skin the color of café con leche, face hidden by a straw hat banded in red. He held a cane, root throbbing with green light. Each time he lifted it, more corpses clawed through the soil. Rafael tried to move, but vines of caramelized sugar clamped his wrists. The suited man turned, though Rafael never saw his eyes, only felt them, like a spotlight rinsing him in dread. The man raised a finger to where lips should be. "Shh," echoed inside Rafael's skull. Then the vision changed. The sugarcane zombies were no longer in the fields, but marching along Havana's Prado, past the bronze lions, past children with kites. Tourists fled. Sirens wailed. The zombies surrounded El Capitolio, sticky jaws chanting in a language older than the island. Butts fired rifles. The zombies' wounds filled instantly with crystallizing sugar. As they seized the marble steps, the man in white lifted the glowing root, and the stone dome cracked. The vision shattered. Rafael was back in his apartment, cigar ash snowing onto his bare chest. A final image clung to him. The man in white, standing in a boxing ring inside the old Kid Chocolate arena, beckoning with a gloved hand. Rafael stubbed the cigar. It left a burn in the shape of a fish scale on the ashtray. He didn't sleep. At dawn, he walked to the Kid Chocolate arena. An Art Deco shell left to pigeons since the government's new sports complex opened across town. A padlock hung on the entrance, but a section of chain link was missing. Rafael ducked inside. The ring remained, though most ropes sagged. and the canvas smelled of mildew. In the center lay a lump the size of a cantaloupe wrapped in newspaper. He knelt, unrolled it, and found a raw sugarcane root pulsing with faint green light, the same root from his vision. He recoiled, heart jackhammering. Footsteps clicked behind him. "We expected you sooner, Taro." Rafael pivoted. Ignacio Reyes leaned against a post, an eye patch covering his left eye, a crooked grin beneath a salt and pepper mustache. Time had softened Ignacio's broad shoulders, but sharpened his presence. "Iggy," Rafael whispered. "How?" "Visions, hermano. We all get them now." Ignacio produced a cigar with the same mermaid sheen, drew smoke and exhaled rings that hovered like halos over the ring. "I followed mine here," Ignacio said. "Saw you arrive. Figured I'd wait." A tremor of guilt rippled through Rafael's gut. "You're all why. Is old news. We got newer problems. Those cane men you saw will rise at sunset." "You saw them too?" Ignacio nodded. "The one in the hat is named Don Sicaro. Folklore says he was a slave driver who made pacts with drowned spirits. Sugar made him rich, but he wanted power over the island. Every 100 years he gets another chance." Raphael's fists curled. Visions don't always come true. Maybe they're warnings. And maybe we're the warning. Ignacio towed a root. "He left this as bait. He wants a fight." Raphael remembered the final glimpse from his vision, the gloved hand beckoning. "In here, tonight." Ignacio grinned. "One last round." A voice echoed from the entrance. "Make it 2, caballeros." Milo the bellhop stepped through the hole in the fence, smoothing his rumpled hotel vest. Behind him trailed a woman, carrying a violin case. Marisol Reyes, Ignacio's younger sister, and once the ring announcer who serenaded fights with her bow. "Couldn't let you old bulls charge alone," she said, snapping the case open. Instead of a violin, it held bundles of mermaid cigars and 3 sets of fresh boxing gloves. "You smoke one, you see truth," she said. "You smoke 2, you can bend it. That's what the dock mermaids told me." Raphael frowned. "Bend truth?" "Alter the vision's outcome," she clarified. "A tiny window. Dangerous as playing dominoes with death, but maybe our only shot." Raphael cracked his knuckles. The green pulse of the cane root seemed to sync with his heartbeat. All his life he'd punched real flesh opponents who sweated and bled. Now he faced sugarcane corpses led by a myth. Yet the emptiness that had haunted him since retirement filled with an electric purpose. "At sunset, then," he said. The plan was crude as garage rum. At dusk, they would lure Don Saccharo into the ring. Raphael and Ignacio would smoke twin cigars containing double scales. Their minds would pluck threads of future seconds, dodge fatal blows, exploit weak spots. Marisol would circle the canvas, bow across strings, weaving a counterspell the mermaids etched into her music. If they toppled Saccharo, the zombies would lose their source of command. The root, smashed beyond repair, would send the dead back to soil. They spent daylight scouring the arena for gear. Spare ropes to reinforce the ring. Buckets to fill with seawater? Murmured blessed, Malo claimed. And rum, Raphael insisted. When the sun kissed the horizon, the air grew thick with burnt sugar scent. The Kid Chocolate's greatest nights had rattled with applause, but the hush that entered now was louder. Candles lit on cracked concrete bleachers, one after another, as spectres filed in. Translucent fighters from decades past, fans who never left their seats, announcers whose throats still itched for a microphone. The mermaid cigar's magic had opened all doors between worlds. Raphael laced his gloves. The leather hugged his fists like familiar lovers. The shoes that had gathered dust in his closet were back on his feet, soles gripping canvas as if no years had passed. Ignacio bounced beside him, eye patch gleaming. "Feels like 96 in here." "Except we're already dead," Milo muttered, flinching at the ghosts swarming bleachers. A shudder blew along the aisle. Sugarcane stalks erupted through the floorboards, cracking planks, sprouting leaves that unfurled damp with molasses. Through the forest of cane marched the zombies, exactly as in the vision. Glazed eyes, cane-boned limbs, molasses hearts, thumping syrup. They filled the perimeter of the ring in perfect squares, like human tiles in a mosaic. At the rear glided Don Sakuro. His white suit gleamed snow-pure amid the grime. The straw hat hid his eyes, but not the grin slicing his face from cheek to cheek, teeth granular like raw sugar. He tapped the glowing root against the ropes. "Toro Valles," he crooned in a voice echoing both ballroom and plantation. "El Huracan Reyes, I was fond of your bouts. Pity you fought for copper and cheese when sugar could buy you eternity." Raphael spat. "Eternity tastes bitter, viejo. Only to the timid." Sakuro raised a hand. The ropes parted for him as though humbled. He stepped through, root in hand, gloves of crystallized sugar forming around his knuckles, facets catching candlelight like diamonds. Marisol handed Raphael and Ignacio their mermaid cigars. They lit them off a single match. Green new smoke spiraled between their faces, weaving filaments of possibility. Raphael felt time loosen, then stretch. He watched his own glove twitch an inch, and a dead second later he saw the echo of where that glove could land, should land, must land. The future was a deck of cards. He could finger the edges, choose which one to play. The bell Milo had scavenged from the lobby rang out. Round 1. Sakuro blurred. Raphael glimpsed vectors. If he stepped left a half pace, the sugar fist would miss by a sugar grain. If he pivoted right, he'd catch a throat opening the width of a keyhole. He stepped, pivoted, drove a jab. His glove connected with Sakuro's jaw. Shards flew. But sugar regrew instantly, sparkling. In the bleachers, zombies chanted, every tongue slapping like a ladle in syrup. "Sakarion!" Ignacio cut in with a left hook that might have felled granite. Sakuro's head whipped, but he danced. No weight to him, as if puppet strings jerked from above. The green root pulsed brighter. Raphael realized the root was both heart and metronome. Every beat fed energy into Sakuro's candy veins. Break the root, break the man. Problem. The root never left Sakuro's fist, and each time they struck him, shards flew, became sugar mist, drifted to zombies who inhaled, strengthening. Marisol's bow hissed across strings, spilling notes like moonlight on water. The zombies swayed, confused. A few stumbled, as though remembering their humanity. Sakuro snarled, "Silence that witch!" He aimed the root at Marisol. A whip of crystalline cane shot out. Time dilated. Raphael saw 2 futures. In one, the whip speared Marisol's violin, shattering spell and hope. In the other, he vaulted across the ring, caught the whip around his forearm and yanked Sakao off balance, exposing the root for a kill shot. Raphael chose. He launched, letting the whip coil scorching sugar around his arm. Pain burst like fireworks, but he'd endured worse under stadium lights. He twisted, muscles remembering the exact leverage of a clinch, and pulled. Sakuro stumbled forward. Ignacio was already in motion, cigar smoke trailing from his nostrils like bullish steam. He drove an uppercut at the root. The glove met cane. Sound cracked the rafters. The root splintered, but held. Sakuro ripped free, eyes blazing emerald under the brim. He jabbed 2 fingers into Ignacio's chest. Sugar crystals blossomed across Ignacio's sternum, creeping like frost. Ignacio gasped. His cigar fell, ember dousing. Raphael grabbed his friend before he buckled, ignoring burning sugar on his own arm. Ignacio's veins shimmered, skin tracing into caramel lace. Seconds before solidifying, he gripped Raphael's wrist. "Finish the round, hermano." Milo threw a bucket. Seawater sloshed over Ignacio. Steam hissed. The sugar cracked, and melted. Ignacio wheezed but remained flesh. The mermaid water had bought them time. Raphael turned to Sakuro, who tilted his hat. "End it, Toro. Join me. Rule the cane fields." Raphael looked at Ignacio, then at the ghosts of boxers lining the bleachers, their transparent faces yearning. He thought of the vision of the Capitol falling, of children's kites tangling in broken marble. He spat blood-tinged saliva. "Rule this!" He flicked his spent cigar onto the canvas. The glowing stub landed at Sakharov's feet, still burning. In the swirl of smoke, Raphael saw a final path. It required 3 punches: jab, cross, liver shot, thrown in a rhythm contradicting everything his trainers taught. But if executed precisely, the vibration could fracture not flesh, not sugar, but the magic lattice inside the cane root. Raphael rolled his shoulders. Time slowed until each dust mote hovered like a star. He advanced. Sakharov lashed with the root. Raphael slipped it by a hair, pivoted, jabbed Sakharov's shoulder one. Sugar cracked. Sakharov roared, whipped around, cross-swung the cane. Raphael ducked, came up with a right cross to Sakharov's temple. 2. The cane root flickered, an ominous dark. Marisol's violin soared to a high harmonic that seemed to lift Raphael's heels off the canvas. He spun on the ball of his left foot, driving his fist in an arc low and left, straight into Sakharov's liver region 3. The glove didn't meet Shiga. It met the glowing root itself, as if reality folded and placed the heart where the liver should be. The impact rang like a cathedral bell. The root fractured, fissures rippling green to white to nothing. Sakharov's eyes widened, pupils dilating, shrinking. Then he disintegrated into a cyclone of granules. The storm whirled, shrank, collapsed into a pile of brown crystals that melted into syrup and seeped through the boards. Around the ring, zombies convulsed. Cane bones snapped, molasses hearts burst. One by one, they crumbled into dry grey husks that fell between emerging shoots of healthy green cane. In moments, the undead battalion was compost. Silence. Then a collective sigh from ghosts and living alike. Candles guttered. The sugarcane stalks that had punched through the floor withered, tamed by ordinary physics. Raphael stood heaving, sweat and sugar brine soaking his shirt. The mermaid's scale burn on his arm glowed faintly, then cooled. Ignacio hobbled over, still sticky but alive. "We did it, Toro." Raphael looked at the pile of syrup, already being lapped by a stray dog nosing through the hole in the fence. He wiped his brow. "No." "You did it. That uppercut opened the root. I just followed through." Ignacio chuckled, pain turning it to cough. "Couldn't ask for a better combo." Milo approached, holding a fresh pair of cigars that glinted aqua. "The mermaid said these are for heroes. They'll give you a vision of wherever you want to go." Raphael took one, handed the other to Ignacio. He studied the battered ring, smelled the ghosts fading like chalk dust, and felt the pulse of Havana outside. Horns, frying garlic, sea spray. For the first time in years, the city's music didn't sound like something happening to other people. It was a rhythm he belonged to. "I already know where I'm going," he said, tucking the cigar into his shirt pocket. Home. As they stepped out of the ring, Marisol dipped her bow, releasing a final note that quivered in the rafters, blessing the arena with silence. Raphael unlaced his gloves. He placed them not on a shelf, but into his duffel, alongside the shoes. There might not be another fight like this, but the gloves were no longer tokens of guilt. They were tools of possibility. Outside, the first light of dawn spilled across the Malekion. Waves slapped the seawall, tossing up spray that glittered like mermaid scales. Raphael inhaled the brackish breeze and smiled. Havana was still standing, its dome unshattered, its kites free. And somewhere in the harbour, mermaids dove deep, their songs already weaving new cigars, new visions. Ones he hoped would not be needed soon. But if they were, he would be ready.